guys, welcome to Comic-Con at Home with Pixel Dan. I, of course, am your host, Pixel Dan, and today on the show, we've got the founder of Wicked Cool Toys, which is now part of Jazwares. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Jeremy Padawer. How's it going, Jeremy?
Oh, man, it's going so well, Pixel Dan. I'm so happy to see you and so appreciative for everything that you've done in terms of covering us over the years. I can tell you my business partners and I are just, forever appreciative of you. Michael Rensler says hi, as does Thomas Poon. So thank you.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. No, that's really cool to see kind of where Wicked Cool has grown over the years. I remember, doesn't feel like that long ago, coming to the small booth at Toy Fair and talking to you there when you first launched Wicked Cool Toys. And now just this year, you made the big announcement that you are now part of Jazwares.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great place to start this conversation.
Yeah, nuts, man. I can't believe it. So in 7 years, we went from being, on the bottom floor of Javits with a 10 by 10 or whatever the heck it was space, to having some of the hottest brands in the world. So as of last year, prior to the acquisition, we had global Pokemon. We were launching Halo, Micro Machines, AEW, Cocomelon, just an enormous roster of massive content. And then last year, with everything and the future looking so bright, we had the opportunity. It's almost like being in your personal life and having the opportunity to marry your perfect person. And that's what it was like with Jazwares. We really respected them very much. They were like the perfect mate. And when they came along and through Allegheny Capital, they made the acquisition, and we continue to be partners in the new organization. But together, we're one of the top 10 toy companies in the world. So now we have Pokemon, Roblox, Fortnite, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a juggernaut.
I was going to say, man, walking into the massive Jazwares Wicked Cool booth at Toy Fair this year was pretty amazing, just to see the difference from a few years ago. And like you mentioned, all of those brands that you guys have now, it's looking pretty awesome. Like, you guys are doing some real cool stuff.
Yeah, thank you very much. Listen, it looks like one of the top 10 toy companies in the world, and it is. And by the way, it's crazy to say that. It really is. I mean, honestly, let this be something that motivates anybody that's watching this, because we didn't come to the game with a tremendous amount of capital, and we just had the right connections. We had the right attitude. We had the right spirit. We select well. And over the course of a very short period of time, we're able to build something. And so I think if we're capable of doing it, there's so many people that are capable of doing it. It's just taking that massive, massive risk. And somewhere along the lines, if that's something that's in your gut, if you love something, it's just, maybe it's worth giving it a shot.
That's amazing. Amazing advice too. Good words to live by right there. So yeah, I'm really excited for you, man. I'm really excited. And, like I've been following you and your career for a long time. Obviously, I'm a big Masters of the Universe fan.
Yeah.
I remember the days where you were brand managing the 2002 toy line, and I've sort of been following you since then. So it's pretty cool.
That is so awesome. Yeah. I was very fortunate. I mean, when I came out of, in grad school in like 1995, I hated law school so much. I hated it. Actually, that was after my first class. I hated it. Literally, I went to my first class and I was like, I'm going to suck at this. So I tried to figure out a way that I could earn money during law school. And I figured it out by creating a series of websites and then gaming Yahoo, faking Yahoo out. Essentially, Yahoo was nothing more than a phone book that would list things categorically and alphabetically. So I knew that I liked toys and I knew that I liked collectibles. So I named everything with 2 A's or 3 A's. And after about 6 months, I had 20,000 people a day coming through my network of absolute websites. And they were learning about valuations of different collectibles.
Wow.
Yeah. So I used that opportunity to become more, I would say, viable to get into the toy industry. So I finished up. So I did this for 3 years during law school, and then I went to business school at Vanderbilt because they were like, "Wow, you were making really good money, more than your professors." So, and I was like, "Yeah, why should I ever quit school? I like learning stuff, and I don't mind being at the bottom of my class while running a business. So this is great."
Yeah.
So, anyways, no, I guess the reality is that when I got to Mattel, they gave me the opportunity first on Hot Wheels, and then when I had shown so much of a propensity to like entertainment brands. I mean, my goodness, to give me the opportunity to step in and be brand manager on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe on a relaunch. I mean, how phenomenal and insane is that? And then the next step of my career after leaving Mattel was to go to Jax to manage the boys business, which included my favorite brand of all time, WWE. I mean, look, I guess in some ways it's been a fairy tale, but in other ways, I know how hard I worked to make a fairy tale come true.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it takes work, right? Like you got to put the work in, and it's awesome to see the success that you've had because of that, and you've gotten to do cool things that you enjoy doing. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan. It's awesome, and I see the same thing in you, in building your influence. It's been amazing to see.
I appreciate that. So with Wicked Cool Toys and kind of going to Jazwares, I thought it would be really cool to kind of talk about what it's like selling in today's marketplace. I've been talking a lot on a lot of these videos recently about us living in like a post Toys R Us world, right? There's no toy stores anymore. Can you kind of speak to like the challenges of retail and everything? I know like with Wicked Cool versus what it's like now with Jazwares, how does that all factor in with us having so little retail?
Yeah, so look, things are different post Toys R Us. Toys R Us was the store that could take absolutely everything. And from our perspective, when we were selling, we knew that at the very least, we would have support on pretty much anything that we put out in the marketplace. So with Toys R Us going away, it definitively impacts the ability of smaller companies to execute a plan. Like we started off with A-level licenses with like Turtles, but we had B-level categories like wall walkers. I mean, we were not getting the action figure business. We were getting secondary businesses. It's hard to call Walmart or Target or have a major buyer be interested in secondary business. But Toys R Us liked it because it built their margin. So it's tough. The answer is it's tough for a company that's up and coming. Not as tough
Yeah.
if you already have a very established business. So at this point in time, we're very, very established. And to the extent that Toys R Us was the launch pad for new companies, I would say nowadays probably Amazon or some sort of .com play can be the launch pad because there is no planogram, there is no minimum or maximum number of SKUs that they can carry. But the challenge is that there's also like for a startup, I would say it's also challenging because they don't necessarily need to commit to a certain number of products to set all their stores. They can say, listen, we'll take it and see if it works. And if it sells out on a Tuesday, we'll order more on a Wednesday. But it's not like they're setting a planogram. So it's a lot different experience now. And specifically, it disproportionately affects new players in the market.
Yeah, it does seem like it's tough, and it feels like we've really started feeling the results of the closure of the toy stores just within this year specifically. And I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, but it really does feel like we're starting to feel the effects of that with product being a lot harder to find in stores, or like the distribution just not being as good, or with in the collector world specifically, you're constantly seeing people not being able to find the things that they want and it just being more difficult. But, we're in a place now where Walmart and Target have like 6 aisles for toys.
Yeah.
So the space is limited.
It's different. It's a different world. And COVID sucks. I mean, let's be honest. It's interesting because the I guess one thing that's working is that people are still consuming. Like they want to be associated with their brands. They have time, perhaps a little bit more time to expend experiencing things that make them feel good. And that also includes their brands that they love and celebrating the brands that they love. But from a development, manufacturing, oversight, quality control, all of that, it is more challenging. I mean, the good news is because we are of scale, we're on top of it. But again, really disproportionately difficult for smaller companies right now. Really, really a difficult time.
Yeah, totally. So do you think like is online sales kind of like the answer at this point, or like how do these smaller companies get their product out there if it's so hard to get into the stores?
Direct to consumer. Yeah. So
Yeah.
online, direct to consumer. It really is. I'm not saying it's the answer to everything, but it's certainly the answer to having being able to prove out your distribution model. But not all categories are made equally. So let me be clear about something. Okay. If you're selling plush, that's one thing. Okay. It's cut and sew. There's MOQs that are not that high. You know, it may be representative of something that you can sell at a premium, because it may be associated with a brand that is a collector brand at a premium value. Board games and stuff that are cardboard, not that difficult. Articulated action figures, where you have the engineering and the tooling and all of that stuff, very difficult if you don't have someone like really stepping up and taking care of your MOQs. So it just depends on the category you're looking at. But yeah, I mean, I think online is certainly viable for a lot of categories to launch.
Cool. See, this stuff is really interesting to me. Because sometimes from the collector side, we don't think about all of this stuff that goes into it and getting these things in stores so that we can buy them and add them to our collections. And so I always appreciate getting kind of this inside look, or getting some insight on that part of the business.
My pleasure. No, absolutely. Questions are so insightful. I mean, like you're dead on. It really is an interesting time, and especially with the toy industry specifically, without Toys R Us, fascinating time.
Yeah. It's just been like such a hot topic. That's why I keep bringing it up, because I like trying to get some of that inside look at all of this stuff, because especially during Comic-Con week, all these companies have all these big reveals, but most of what you're seeing from the fan side is how hard it is to find it all.
Absolutely. No, look, it's Comic-Con is one of the most joyful times of the year, not just for consumers, but for manufacturers as well, right? We're making announcements. We're directly communicating with people that we love, the fan community, the people that support these brands. They mean everything. So I think that it's just been very bizarre, right? Not being able to have that first hand engagement. And yeah, I think that, to some extent, with COVID, you didn't even know really what was going to happen with Comic-Con. What we were told is Comic-Con was canceled.
Right.
And then there's going to be a Comic-Con at home. And then, well, maybe there's an opportunity to sell Comic-Con product. Like, honestly, it's too complicated. So I think some companies just sort of like said, all right, I'm going to go all the way through with this and still make Comic-Con product available. And others, you know what? I don't know if there's even going to be a Comic-Con or not. So it's sort of interesting in that regard.
Absolutely, man. It's been a weird time to be a toy collector, but hey, let's focus on the fun and exciting part of this, right? Because you talked about all the different brands that you guys are doing now. So why don't we start talking about some of your new reveals and your new brands?
Yeah, sure.
You were just talking a little bit ago about how you used to work at Jax, and obviously you manage the WWE line, and now here you are with Jazwares, with Wicked Cool, with the new All Elite Wrestling, the AEW line. How does it feel to be back in wrestling figures?
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. They're honestly one of the most supportive and collaborative licensors I've ever worked with. They totally get the business, and they totally get that the adult consumer is to be coveted and to be treated, well. And so for us, it's truly been a dream come true. And yeah, look, wrestling is interesting because it's been a long time since WWE had real competition. But there's a reason for that. It takes a tremendous capital investment. So if you look back and say, well, when was the last time there was this big competition in wrestling? It was, remember, WCW versus WWF in the late 90s. It was also called the Attitude Era. And what was the hallmark of that? Two billionaires, Vince McMahon and Ted Turner. So a year ago, when I understood that the Khan family was getting involved, Tony Khan specifically, their family owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. They own several major soccer clubs. And I was like, oh my gosh, I see that the capital is there. What about the talent? And then I blinked and I saw Jericho and Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and Omega and some of these other guys. I was like, wow, okay. So then I called and we had some long conversations, and what it really, from my mind, I was like, all they need to do is have great creative and build new talent. And if they can do that, this is going to be spectacular. And you know what? They're doing it. Like the creative, I'm enjoying so much. Like I would say that I'm more than a casual wrestling fan, but I'm also not, I've missed nights of wrestling. Uh, I love the creative. I really love where they're going. I love the fact that Cody Rhodes is wrestling independent wrestlers. I love the fact that they call it wrestling. I love the fact that that there's sort of this throwback spirit in terms of the things that they're doing in the ring. And the early reads on the product are tremendous. So there's that too. And I see that, again, the talent, the creativity, and the capital, and that's all coming together in a beautiful way.
That's fantastic. That is so cool to hear. And obviously there's a huge collector base for wrestling figures in general.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things that you might have to consider when you're making new wrestling figures from a rival promotion, do you consider the fact that they should still try to fit in with everybody's collection that they already have?
Yes. I mean, basically the way I look at it is it's the fight figure scale. So if it's wrestling or MMA or whatever it may be in combat, you should probably try to keep it all in scale, because you're dealing with the world of fantasy. Essentially, you're dealing with the world of fantasy. So why not have cross promotion stuff? Why not do cross branded stuff? Why not engage in that way? So yeah, I will say that for us, it's really been a situation where we believe that scale was critical, and we don't look at it as one brand. We look at it as a category called fight, and that fight branded product should all be in the same scale.
Yeah, I think when you're thinking of collectors specifically, scale's always been one of those important issues. A comic book collector wants to be able to put Captain America and Superman on a shelf together, have them fight, and have them look like they belong together. So, especially since this is a collector-driven line, it really does seem like something important.
Absolutely, and look, you can even break collectors down even further and say there's the type of collectors that collect to display. There's the type of collectors that collect for value, for secondary market value. And then there's the type of collectors that collect to play. And so, yeah, definitely, especially for the play or display collectors, you want to have scale. I think it definitely makes a big difference. For the collectors that keep things mint in package, it's less important. But I would say that, you know what? Better to play to the masses. Better to play to the masses and keep one meaningful scale.
That's awesome. I really do think that that's a great way to look at it, and it's perfect to hit that fan base and get them on board with the product that you're doing. So that's really exciting.
Thank you.
And the AEW line launches this year, right? It's getting pretty close to launch.
The AEW line will be on shelves at Walmart August 3rd, I believe, and it's already available for pre-sale on Ringside Collectibles and Walmart.com.
Excellent. That's really exciting stuff. And I'm sure that there'll be a lot of mileage out of that too. So this is likely just the beginning, I imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, this should be a long-term proposition. And we can't wait to see what happens 5 years from now when we look back on this. We should see, tens and tens of waves, all hundreds of figures, and just be very proud of what we've all accomplished together. That's what our hope is.
Awesome. Really exciting for AEW fans for sure to get that product out there. Very cool.
Absolutely.
So one of the other big brands I think that you guys had at Toy Fair that I've had a lot of people getting excited for is the Halo license. And I think you mentioned earlier in the interview that you were dropping a lot of these brands at the same time. So that means we're going to be seeing Halo stuff pretty soon too?
Yes, you're going to be seeing Halo launch with the game. So Infinite's been announced, and that'll be out later this fall into the holiday season, and the product will be launching alongside that during the holiday season as well. And from our perspective, Halo's a very, very intriguing opportunity, because this is the first time in, I think, 20 years that the game and the console are launching simultaneously. So if you think about it, it's the Microsoft console, but it's also the Microsoft-owned game and platform. Wow, I can't imagine how big this is going to be. It's going to be very, very large.
That's I didn't even think about the fact that you guys, yeah, this probably is the first time we've ever had a toy line launching right there with that product. That's awesome.
Very, very unusual for Halo to have that happen, because everything is lining up for it to be a spectacular launch.
Now with those Halo figures, we saw those at Toy Fair. If I remember correctly, there's like 2 different scales of those too, right? Aren't you doing like a collector one? And
yes, so we're exploring the world of Halo in the 3 3/4, 4-inch. It's more of a 4-inch scale, but it literally goes from 3 3/4 to like 4.5. And then we're embracing the collector, more of like the Black Series with the 6-inch, 7-inch figs. So yeah, so I think that they're all very collector friendly, to be honest with you. But it's just easier to play out the world with the smaller figures.
Sure, of course. And you guys are doing
so big. Everything is so large and everything is so scaled up in that world that if you try to do it with the larger figures, I'm not even sure there would be space at retail to do it.
Yeah, that's always a problem with the 6 and 7-inch figures, getting things like vehicles and stuff. So it definitely makes more sense for the 4-inch scale figures to get things like the Warthog.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Plus you guys are doing like role play and stuff too. I remember seeing that at Toy Fair.
We have an energy sword that is so awesome that it has a response and vibrates and motors and color change. It's awesome. Really fun.
That's so cool. That is so cool. So those are launching with the new system and the new game this holiday season, and probably we'll be seeing lots more with that as well. There's so much you could do with that world.
Absolutely. There's a lot you can do, and I do think that there's things that have not even been announced yet that will perpetuate that game for many, many, many years to come.
Very cool. Awesome. So excited about Halo. And then the other thing at Toy for me, for nostalgia purposes, was the fact that you guys were bringing back the Micro Machines. And I know that those are even hitting retail right now. I've already seen people finding them and getting excited about it. So Micro Machines, how did that come about?
So Micro Machines has been something that was been a long time coming for us. Hasbro is a licensor. We have a nice relationship with Hasbro. And we put together a plan to bring it back about a year ago. And we've been working to do that. And what you're going to see is we're going to be celebrating Micro Machines, both the stuff that you would expect, like Super Van City and some of the other critical items in the history of Micro Machines, but also bringing licensing into it and bringing third-party licensing into it, so that we can really get and embrace the vehicles that people love. But no, it's going to be so fun, and the commercial is going to be fun. I mean, one of the most memorable things about Micro Machines was the commercial and the fast talker. And we've got some really exciting, fun things in store there as well.
That is really cool. Yeah, that's just one of those lines that I think a lot of us had when they were out, like it's one of those things like everybody has Hot Wheels, but when Micro Machines was reigning supreme, everybody had Micro Machines too. It was just one of those things that was always there. And I feel like that's something that's been lacking for a long time, or like vehicles at that size, just that real fun, almost like portable, shove them in your pocket, take them to your grandma's house and play with them, and all the fun little play sets and everything. So I don't know. I was real excited about that announcement.
Oh, awesome. No, it's so great to hear. And gosh, Micro Machines is one of the biggest vehicle brands of all time. And we want to do it justice, and it's ironic. It's tiny, but it's also one of the biggest, right? So we want to do it justice and do a great job with it. And I think that we're well on our way there.
Very cool. That is really exciting. And those are in stores now, like I said, right? Those are hitting now.
They just hit, and you're going to see new waves of that refreshed often. So we're coming at that one really, really aggressively. Yeah, so it's just hitting stores now. And between Super Van City and some of the other items that you can build out that world, again, it's gonna be awesome.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, so those were definitely some of the standouts for me personally. That I'm thinking back to Toy Fair. Toy Fair feels like such a long time ago now. But was there like the whole world's changed since Toy Fair, right?
I mean,
That's why it feels like a lifetime ago.
I can barely even remember that as being normalcy, because we're separated from normalcy by almost 4 months now. So
Yeah.
at this point in time, look, we're doing well. Everyone's working from home, and you know, we have our processes, and we know how to communicate with one another now, and we know where to ship product, and all that stuff is well underway. But it'd be nice to be around other humans.
Yes. Yes. Nice to be around people. Nice to be doing the convention thing again. I'm at that point now where I miss it all, man.
All the handshaking and backslapping and hugs and all that other stuff. It'll be interesting to, like, even when it comes back, it'll be interesting to see if it, I mean, personally, I've never been really that afraid of getting a cold. But COVID is scary. COVID's kind of a next level thing. So what my hope is that when there's a vaccine and COVID is taken care of, that people can take a deep breath and get back to the normal communication and that intimacy that we've all had and enjoyed in this generation of people. So
yeah, absolutely.
so.
Absolutely. But I guess the positive thing is that we have the technology, we have the ability to do stuff like this. And at least, I can still sit down and have these cool conversations with you and get excited about all the geeky stuff that we love.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look, it's outside of some glitchiness that comes from my terrible internet. I will say that no, everything else is similar. I mean, look, you don't have to be in a gallery where I'm taking you through and showing you product by product. We can be in different places and do this. And you're right. Now, I think that has been the saving grace, frankly speaking, of so many people's mental health as well. Like, we can communicate with one another. We can communicate in like face to face with one another. If this had happened 20 years ago, I really think it would have been far, far worse in terms of the way people are processing it. And if it had happened 30 years ago, even worse. But yeah, you're right. Technology now, I mean, it's helping business. I'll tell you that. I mean, the ability to shop virtually, or just to know what's in the store. So when you go in there, you can kind of zero in on it. The ability for my parents who are 80 to order groceries and have them delivered. I mean, all of that stuff is really helping us all. But most importantly, I think for collectors, because we do have a shared philosophy and a shared ideology of collecting, having the ability to communicate with one another online through message boards or chats or watching live video or being involved in one way, shape, or form, it means the world. I really think it means the world.
Yeah, man. I agree 100%. And this has been awesome. Yeah. And it's been a really, really awesome conversation. So was there anything else that you want to cover or mention that I forgot about?
No, I mean, I guess one thing is I've been buying and collecting a lot of Pokemon cards. And I would just
oh yeah,
blast. I mean, I have to say that I live the brands that I work on. And one of the brands that I've been so lucky to work on is Pokemon for the last, off and on for the last 15 years. And so, yeah, I have delved into the universe of catching them all, but in card form. And, I've got all the figures, and you can understand why. But now I'm going into cardboard, and it's just been it's been amazing, and it's just another indicator of how incredible these collector communities are. The collector communities are terrific, and I've experienced that in Pokemon firsthand.
I think it's awesome, and like we were just saying, it's so important that we've got these communities that we can all kind of geek out together in and share our passions.
Absolutely, and to that extent, I mean, please, if anybody wants to continue to do that with me, you can go to @Jazwares, or you can find me at Jeremy Padawer, Padawer, on Instagram, or on Twitter, Jeremy Com. And I love to continue this conversation with people. Dan, thank you so much for giving the forum to do so.
Of course, man. I really appreciate you coming on here. It's been a fantastic chat, and we will definitely have to do this again somewhere.
Please, and maybe next time in person, but it doesn't have to be. We'll figure it out.
All right, man. We'll definitely plan on it. Very cool.
You're the man.
All right, guys. Well, there you go. A chat with Jeremy Padawer right here on Comic-Con at Home with Pixel Dan. Be sure to stay tuned for more fun videos. Until next time. Comic-Con at Home with Pixel Dan is brought to you by Megalopolis City of Collectibles. Be sure to check them out for all of the latest pre-orders of everything that was just announced during At Home Comic-Con. Thanks for watching.